you're not introducing me?
Because I want to do it justice. Who
Okay.
knows? Who knows you better than you? You know what? I'll figure out something. All right, hey, this is the nice lady that took
Uh-uh.
me in when I was homeless many moons ago.
Yes, that's right.
Her,
I did.
her, and her spunky mom, rest in peace, took pity on this stray wild cat,
Shout
and
out to Trudy.
yeah, no, but you know, we go back decades. So
Back.
yeah. No, you do yours. I can't do you justice.
I mean, what's up? Tiana Jovana. I'm a writer. I'm an author. I talk to people sometimes. Uh, certified neuro-linguistic programmer. Yeah,
Wait,
there you
what
go.
is that? I mean, I know what it is, but for those that don't know what NLP is, could you give us the basics on it?
Essentially, it's a mindset hack through hypnosis, is the best way that I can describe it. So, you can reprogram your mindset to help you switch that up, manifest, live your best life. And there you go. That's the easiest definition.
Oh, okay. So how I've seen it used in TV is you say a bunch of stuff and then you say a word, and then it's supposed to plant a seed subconsciously in that person's mind, and you just keep playing. Is that doing too much? Is that
Essentially, yeah, it's a way to mentally alter your future timeline from the present. Or you can mentally alter a past timeline to help you reprogram yourself or to help yourself in the future. So the idea, for instance, if you start working out today,
Mhm.
every day for the next year, right? You put in a workout schedule, and your goal is to get fit every day from now until September 22nd of 2024, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
The idea is your future self will thank you for starting a year ago, right? Because now you're like, okay, I'm in this great shape. I started this a year ago, and I'm so glad that I started when I started, because now I'm where I want to be. So the idea is you can implant ideas in your own head to be like, hey, give your future self something to thank you for. So it can deal with like healing childhood trauma to put you on the right track. It can be shadow work. It can be a lot of different things.
How would one use that in the dating market or in the game of dating and mating?
Um, I mean,
Because
that's
that's the
such
only
a
way I've ever
varied
seen it.
question.
Yeah, that's the only way I've ever seen it applied on TV and film. The guy reads the book and he meets the girl and he that's the only way I've ever seen it applied. So when you say NLP,
Well,
I
it
automatically think a guy is trying to date a woman and he puts subconscious words in throughout the conversation.
no, it's no. I mean, you can do that, but unless she is expecting or unless she has been programmed to react a certain way to these subconscious words, that's not going to work.
Okay.
Like it's
Okay.
really for yourself. It's really
Okay.
something that you do for yourself in order to help you produce a specific outcome, and it's very much linked to um, addressing your mindset and reaching goals.
So is this what you would recommend most people get into to kind of reprogram themselves to put in for
No,
expect a better outcome in life, or no?
no, I don't think it's a one size fits all kind of a thing. I
Right.
think mindset can be tackled a lot of different ways depending on the person, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, no, it's you got to figure out what works for you for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Because a lot of people don't want to change. Like, let's be honest. You can sit here and say I want to change all day long, but you don't actually want to put in the
I
work to do
agree, unless life calamity forces them in some God act of God, and they have no choice but to. I agree. I agree.
it. Yep.
I
Yeah.
agree. Okay, so we go back a lot of years.
A lot of years. We're not going to talk about how many years because we're
It's a
about to
lot. Yeah,
date
right, right,
ourselves.
right.
We're about,
Um, no, we go way back. I mean, oh my God, and all the fucking adventures and shenanigans in and out the business and just personal lives and stuff. Um, you I would say you know me better than most. Okay, I would say you know me. You're like one of two people that know me inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say you know where all the bodies are buried
I do.
for the most part. Whatever. And to say it like that though.
I do.
But you don't always the way you say it.
But I take pride in the trust that you have in me, though.
Yes, right.
Because you
Yes,
are not
yes.
a very trusting individual. Let's be honest.
I am not.
So yeah, like I do. I appreciate that. I accept it. I take pride in it. 100%.
Okay. So some people would say I have a problem. I don't think it's a problem. But I came to visit you a few months back, and the way you broke it down, I was like, that because I've been called a collector
A
of women.
collector.
Yeah.
I think philanderer is
What?
quite a good word.
That sounds worse than a collector.
I mean, it depends.
Wow, really?
What is it?
That's bad. A philanderer?
I mean, okay, so a philanderer is someone who is readily or frequently entering into casual sexual relationships with women.
Is that what that is?
That is what that is.
That sounds very bad. I don't like, let's find another term. I like
Do you not
collector.
do?
I
Okay.
you
Listen, I'm gonna
assess.
call a spade a spade. You can call it.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. I'll take it. I'm here for my self-diagnosis. You diagnosed me a few months back, and the term stuck with me, and I've been meaning to get you on camera, and because maybe I'm not the only one that suffers from this affliction, but let's just break it down because I like to date a lot.
Yeah, that
Cool.
is that's a way to put it. That's a way to put it. No, I mean, we all come with baggage, right? Like we all come with baggage.
Yeah.
And dating is no exception. And you like to knock them down. And
Dang, see,
you
when you
like to
say
knock them
like,
down
oh
frequently.
my God, that
And
sounds
no,
so
but it's
bad.
am I lying? Do I need to get clinical with it? Like, so it doesn't sound so bad?
I
We're here
mean,
for honesty. We're here for honesty.
I did not see this going this way when I
No, it's not. But
thought.
it's okay. Listen, you enjoy the companionship of women, and but there's a reason, right? There's a reason. I
Yes.
know that you've shared on here before about your fiance,
Yeah, yeah.
and you know, there's in your eyes you're at a formidable age, and this woman was top tier, right? Top tier. And you've always talked about her and put her on this pedestal that is miles above the rest, right?
This is true. This is true.
And but at the height of the love that you felt for her, at the height of the, you getting married, ready to start your life with this woman, she tragically passes away.
Mhm.
Right? And you never got to say goodbye. You never really got to close that gap. And so in your mind, anyone that, like you're chasing that feeling, right? You're chasing that feeling. And so you are, there's that famous 80s white folk song, Addicted to Love. And that's what you are. But there's a reason, like, so that's called limerance, right? Like we know, like when we get into that, the beginning stages of a relationship, usually like the first 6 months, right? You're in it and it feels new and it's fresh and you can't wait for them to call, and you just crave their presence and so on and so forth. That's the closest thing that you can get to having the feeling of having your fiance back, because that was cut short. So because of that, because of the age that happened at, because of how early on in the relationship it happened, because you were still at peak like love with this woman, now you chase that because it was lost to you in such a tragic way. So I think that's what it is with you. You chase limerence, you chase the newness of relationships because that's what feels good. And so once the limerence kind of dies away and you settle into the newer the next phase of the relationship, which is that comfort and the knowing and the familiarity is boring. It doesn't light you up like the newness of a relationship does. And so then you start to see the flaws in your partner. Then you start to become comfortable. Maybe you are uncomfortable with their comfort with you because now they're showing, that like ugly morning breath phase is stepping in. And that's not what you're into. Like it's feelings change. And so instead of riding the wave of familiarity and comfort and coupling, that you become disinterested and you move on to the next. And that's what it comes down to. That's why you chase that. And so that's why, it's not being in a relationship, a long-term relationship is very, very difficult for you because you're still romanticizing what it would have been. Sorry, you're still romanticizing what it would have been with your fiance who was it for you.
Yeah, when you told me this, it didn't sound this bad.
But it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just it is what it is, right? And if you understand that, you're able to deal with it.
Okay, right? How does one deal with that?
Bro, therapy.
I mean, really? Outside of therapy?
No? You know what? In all honesty, I would say like just understanding that the next phase, that comfortable, familiar phase of love I think you need to find the joy in that versus only seeking the rush, right? That's really kind of what it comes down to. You're seeking that rush. Yeah.
And I don't like what you now, because when you said it at the house, it was nicer and not much of a gut punch. It didn't sound this.
But it shouldn't be a gut punch. It shouldn't be a gut punch. It's not. I promise. I'm not knocking you down like you knock them down.
What the fuck ever? Whatever.
But it is what it is. And you just have to find your footing when it comes to being in a long-term relationship and what fits for you, what you like about that.
Well, I mean, yes.
I did. Edmund, I did.
Wow, yeah, she really did. In a perfect. You know what? The hell with y'all. Whatever. Anywho, yeah. I stopped comparing others to her. Like I learned I can't do that. No one would measure up. That's not fair to them, of course. And I guess the rush is still yeah, that's bad, huh?
But you know what? As far as the comparison is concerned, that's something that's deeply, deeply embedded in your subconscious. Like consciously, you're not comparing anybody to her, but that was the bar for you.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not about a comparison. It's about meeting us and sustaining literally an unsustainable bar. Because you were never able to experience the comfort side of it with her. And so that comfort side seems boring in comparison, because it is. Unless you pull out what you love about the comfort side.
Right. Okay. So what would a therapist tell me, or what exercise would a therapist give me to exercise this particular demon per se?
I like to have people write down like pros and cons of what their situation is, right? Like pros and cons of being in a relationship. So like, for instance, a pro is, loyalty. A pro is comfort. A pro is sustainability. A pro is, you have someone to grow old with. And a con might be, drama. A con might be STDs. A con might be, like a con might be insustainability, right? Yeah. A con might be never being able to actually connect with someone on that deep, deep level. And so really kind of sitting out and then pulling out like your favorite part of the pros, right? Like I love the comfort. I love to be able to lay on the couch and, let a woman stroke my hair and feeling that, feeling safe and feeling like I've got this. Like nothing's gonna fuck this up, right? Sorry, can I cuss on your show?
Yes, you can curse. Yes.
So just picking out what can help you in that. Also continuing to date and trying new things that align with your partner, you and your partner, right? So for instance, my husband and I have been married for 13 years now. And every year on our anniversary, it's just one of the things we do. Instead of we don't give gifts to each other. We do new things, right? So we'll go on a vacation, right? So one year we flew to New York on a whim, went to Dave Chappelle show, laughed together. I love Erykah Badu. She opened up for him. So it was a fantastic experience. It was our first time going to New York together. And then after that, we literally chased Erykah Badu through the city, stalker style. Mm-hmm. And we found out she was DJing at another club after the fact, right? And so we made it to the club. We were able to get in and we partied all night long. And so it was a brand new experience. It was something that brought us closer. It was fun as hell. And it's something that we will always remember. And so every year on our anniversary, we'll do something like that. One year we went ziplining together. One year we flew to Arizona and we went hiking together, and just things like that are fun that you can experience with that person to keep it fresh, because it gets stale real fast.
Yes. Well, man, congrats to the 13, because I remember
Thank you.
I remember when he proposed, and I was like, I couldn't believe it was that long ago. Man. I remember the picture and I was like, yeah, I ain't doing that shit. Fuck all that mess.
Shout out to getting pregnant right away.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I like the segue. What are marriage misconceptions that you wish would die off, or what is it? Because you see the online banter. You see it's basically marriage is the worst thing ever. Or it's so outdated, which I do agree it's outdated. But you're in a successful marriage. So is your viewpoint skewed? Would someone say, well, you know what, Tiana, you got the guy, you get the family, the house and the cars and whatever, So what do you say to people that have a negative viewpoint, a connotation attached to marriage?
Well, I think your mindset it creates your reality, right? We know that. If you have a skewed idea of marriage, then guess what? Your marriage is going to be skewed. Or finding that marriage is going to be skewed. And that's not to say don't be real about it, because definitely be real. There is such a thing as toxic positivity, and I believe a lot in that. But common misconceptions, I think, is that marriage is 50-50, because that shit is not. It is not. It is not. Sometimes it's 80-20. Sometimes it's 60-40. Sometimes it's 50-50. But I think setting boundaries and setting ground rules and really understanding each other before you decide to get married is huge. Understanding whose role is what. Now, I am not in the conventional she does all the housework and she rears the kids and it's not traditional. I am the breadwinner in my house. And when I got pregnant, so fun fact, I got pregnant the first time we had sex. So he did that on purpose. And before we decided to move forward with carrying out the pregnancy, and we said, okay, we're going to do this, I told him, I said, listen, if we're going to do this, I am not the only one changing diapers. I am not the only one getting up in the middle of the night to feed the baby. I am not the only one who is going to take care of schooling and registration and nurturing. And this is you. You are not hands off, daddy. Because if you are a hands-off daddy, then I'm about to be a single mother. Point blank, period. I can do this shit by myself. And he respected that. He was like, yeah, absolutely. He wanted to be hands-on. But I laid it out in the very beginning. And then if he was slacking, or even if I was slacking, he would let me know, like, hey, this is what we agreed to. So when you draw those lines in the sand and you understand each other in a mutually respectful way, then you can move on to success. But it's when someone is not carrying their weight, and sometimes the weight of their partner, that's when you get bogged down with drama. You cannot expect it to be 50-50. And when it's an 80-20 day for me and I need him to have 80% of it and I've only got 20% left in me, I need to communicate that to him. Babe, it was a hard day today. Can you take care of dinner tonight? I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Do you got it in you? If you don't, what are we going to pick up for dinner? Right? If the house is a mess and I don't have it in me, hey, are we cool with it being messy for a minute? Or can you step in? And vice versa. Babe, it's been a really long day. I just need some time by myself. Can you entertain the kids? When I get home, I need to take a nap. Absolutely. And it's about treating each other with that respect, communicating what you need and understanding and knowing, like I said, it's not going to be 50-50. It's just
okay.
not.
So when you hear the rhetoric, and I'm picking on women right now, but you hear a lot of the gender roles be discussed. We don't have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why would they feel the need to bring that into their relationship. It's some things that should be understood. And I agree. There's ebbs and flows. We don't have to have those type of conversation all the time. Like, I get it. I wash dishes. I do the laundry. You know, like, this shit. This is it entitlement
On the women's part or on the men's part? What do you mean?
Either one, because it sounds like they're coming from two polar opposites, and there's no middle ground to meet.
I feel like people are trying to adhere to gender stereotypes or societal norms that don't work for them in their relationship.
Okay.
You, as an individual, you have to figure out what is best for you in your relationship. In your relationship, it may not be to get married, and that's okay. Every relationship does not need to lead to marriage. But I think that those conversations about what the expectations are absolutely vital when we are living in a time when you must have a 2-income household.
Okay.
When we are living in a time when, as a demographic, Black women are the most highly educated and are often making more money than men, than their male counterparts. You have to have these conversations because a lot of people are coming in, or I should say a lot of men are coming in expecting, okay, well, yeah, obviously you're going to cook and you're going to take care of the kids and you're going to clean the house because that's what my mom did. But now you're also going to work. And oftentimes you're also going to bring home more money than me, but you're still going to cook and you're still going to clean and you're still going to rear the children. And you're going to pay all the bills. That stereotype of the breadwinner and the homemaker has been crushed since the 80s, when, almost 50% more than 50% of households were 2-income households. Now they have to be. So when does men need to understand that resentment is going to start creeping in. And women are now in a position where, we don't have to be married anymore. Back in the day, a lot of people want to point to their parents or their grandparents and, oh, they made it work. Motherfucker, your grandmama couldn't get credit. Like, she literally could not get credit until 1976? A woman could not get a credit card on her own. She was not there because she loved your grandpa. She was there because she had no choice. A lot of women, it was frowned upon if they worked outside the household. Like pre-World War II, right? Like a lot of women, they could not buy a house on their own without a male counterpart to help them do that. So, you know, yeah, you might be like, yeah, same thing happened to my grandma and grandpa. They were married for 70 some years. My grandpa used to whoop my grandma's ass. And she was like, I cannot leave. I have 6 children and I can't even get credit. Like, and a lot of people don't take these things into consideration when they think about relationships and marriage today.
So is it fair to say that the men have failed to adjust to society, the culture of
I think
dating
it's
and
both
mating?
men and women. I think it's both men and women because now women want to go in and instead of having these frank and honest conversations, they want to go in the very beginning of the relationship. Oh, yeah, they want to cook for you. Yeah, they want to clean the house. Yeah, they want to be pretty. Oh, I'm going to go to work. I'm a boss bitch, blah, blah, blah. I got the hustle. But that's not sustainable.
Okay.
So then when they stop doing it 6 months, a year in, because they're burnt out, and then you bring kids into play. So that's an added expectation.
Okay.
And since she has taken on these roles traditionally, it's going to be expected that she takes on the motherhood role in full force and be the primary nurturer. She has set herself up for failure. Instead of being real from day one and being like, look, I'm not always going to cook. I enjoy cooking right now, but after doing it for 10 years, that shit gets old. You know how tired I am of making dinner? Like that's the worst part of my day is choosing figuring out what I'm going to feed my family and then cooking it. Are you kidding? After 13 years, it gets old as hell.
Okay.
So
Let me
we
ask you
have
this.
those expectations in place.
Let's take your social circle. Let's take your group, your demographic, your village, the people you cavort with. If the women that you know, they come across a man that could financially support them 100%, they don't have to do anything, would they take the man upon that offer?
There is
Would
only
they?
one person in my social circle that would do that.
And why wouldn't the rest of them do that?
My social circle is different.
Okay.
My social circle is made up of educated women who enjoy being successful because that's who they are, right?
Okay.
They enjoy bringing home, but they're also, you know, I know women who are very successful, who are in their 40s, who have no children and are not married.
Okay.
I have women in my circle who are well educated and married. But I think a lot of the women that I surround myself with, that's boring to them.
Okay.
Like that I am not religious at all, but it even says in the Bible, like work, like people are meant to work. The reason it says that, or the idea behind it, is because that gives you meaning, right? A lot of times when you look at men versus women, women live longer than men. And shortly, especially if they're in a really long-term relationship, they live longer than men. And then when their husband passes away, then a lot of times they will go, you know, within a couple of years thereafter, even if they seem to be very healthy up until then. It's because we have taken on the role of the nurturer and we are working. We have stuff to do. But if you're just one of those people who's like, yeah, you could take care of me. Well, where do you find value in your life? What brings you fulfillment? Because I don't know anybody on this planet who is going to be genuinely fulfilled sitting on the couch letting someone just take care of them.
Okay.
Like and if that's the case, it's different if like she's like, oh yeah, just take care of me, and she's got her own thing that she's doing. Like I'm volunteering, or I'm, you know, I contribute time to X, Y, and Z, or you know, but most people that I know are not like, yeah, just take care of me. Like they want to do something. They want to live a good life and they want someone to contribute to that good life. But, you know, no one wants to be like, I could do it on my own and struggling.
Okay. So now it seems we have not only a cultural difference, but a generational difference between how women. Okay. So now the women after you will, I would say, adopt more of a mindset that you have. Is that fair to say?
I would hope so. But I don't know. I just know how I'm raising my girls.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of women of similar mindsets to me are raising their girls and their boys differently. I know, a few of my women friends, at the end of the day, they talk about how all these men are um like they complain about the men, but they don't take into consideration how they are raising their own sons,
Mhm.
right? Um, my sister, for instance, case in point, she has two boys. And she was that mom who did everything for her kids, right? Everything. She doted after them constantly. And now she's like, I don't understand why my sons think they're so entitled. You don't? Are you sure about that? I didn't raise them like that. Are you sure about that? And then she'll pause and be like, oh shit, maybe I am, maybe I did have a hand in that. Um, and then also, society still feeds into the gender role ideas, right? For both men and women. Um, so like I said, I can only speak to how I'm raising my daughters, and I'm raising my daughters to be self-sufficient, communicative, kind, caring individuals. But I also want them to be I want them to be independent. I don't want them to be hyper independent like me. I want them to know their worth, but I also want them to be okay with being taken care of. And that's something that I struggle with too. So
Okay.
I'm trying to make them better than me.
Do you think the gender roles will be pretty much abolished by the time our kids are of dating age?
I don't think so. I don't think that they should be, right? I think men are inherently protectors. I don't think that that's a gender role that women need to take on. I think women are inherently nurturers. I do think men need to be nurturing, but I don't think that that necessarily has to be their number one role. Like there is a law, okay? There are 12 universal laws, and one of those 12 universal laws is gender, right?
Mhm.
The law of gender means that there needs to be a masculine and a feminine energy in order to for the universe to be in balance.
Agreed.
There has to be someone to plant the seed and there has to be someone to sow the seed.
Right, right.
So this is not an argument against gender roles. I think
Okay.
there needs to be there. I think they need to be there. I just think that they need to be reimagined for what works for us in 2023 and beyond.
Okay.
Does that make
I don't
sense?
I agree, but I don't think what I think a man is will be vastly different, say what mini me sees
Yeah.
when she gets older. Like she'll have, okay, that's dad, but that's a long time ago. That was dad's day. Now it's I got to deal with these, So uh, um if you have a society that is telling men your naturally biological hardwire is no longer needed, what are men to do?
Well, but there's a difference. Are men naturally biologically hardwired to not be able to feed themselves? That
No.
comes down to cooking, right?
Right.
Okay. Are men biologically, hardwired to be mean to children? No, they can still be masculine and be nurturing, right? They can still be masculine in the kitchen. Look at all the top chefs in the world. Like most of them are men. So when I say gender roles need to be reimagined for what makes sense, I mean within the household and within a marriage, right? Um, because we're living in a different time. Gender roles are not sustainable in a household where you have to have two incomes
Okay.
because it's just not most women like we'll do the work, but just because we can do it all doesn't mean that we should do it all.
Okay. What do you say to those women that can't pull themselves back and dial it back a bit because they feel that they can do it all, they should do it all. And then when they get the least desired results when they're trying to date because, they have that mindset. So what do you tell those women?
You know what? If it works for you, do what works for you. But if it doesn't work for you, if you are, you feel like you can do it all and you're still full of energy and life, and this is what, this is what lights you up, then by all means, do that. But if you feel like you're doing it, you can do it all, so you should do it all, and you're getting burnt out, that's not healthy for you. So I think in everything, it's important to have balance, right? And so, that I can do it all, I can do it all, so I'm gonna do it all, or I should do it all. That's a trauma response. That's hyper independence.
Okay.
That comes from you not being able to trust that the adults in your life and child when you were a child are going to take care of you. That is the inability to trust as a child manifesting itself as hyper independence in adulthood. That's me. That's something that I struggle with. I have always been that, oh, I can do it. I got this, strong, independent Black woman. No, I am ready for my soft era. Like it's giving trauma is what it's giving. Okay. And I'm bad. I like for a long time, I wouldn't even ask Ian to help me with my husband to help me with stuff. Yeah. Right. Like no.
But I've always known you like this, even before. Yeah, when we were younger, you were always like, "I got it. I'll take care of it." Yeah, we just be like, "Okay." Okay.
But that's hyper independence from constantly being let down as a child. Mm-hmm. So I don't put my trust in people to take care of something because I'll take care of it. Mm-hmm. That's something that I have to learn to let go of. I have to learn to. And that goes back to the conversation that I was having earlier, setting those boundaries and expectations in the beginning, and being honest with yourself and honest with your spouse when you don't have 50% to give.
So when you hear this, when you hear the conversations 50-50, what comes to mind when you hear people our age have a discussion about who should pay more of the bills, in regards to who gets to be more dominant in the relationship? It seems the more money you make equals how much more dominance you get to have in the or to say so in the relationship. Mm-hmm. When you hear that, I know it goes back. You kind of answered it already, but when you hear this talk amongst grown people about, I need to make more money so I can tell you what to do, so I can tell you to shut up if you get snippy with me. That's basically what it comes down to. Who makes more money? Therefore, I get to tell you when and what to do. In a nutshell.
Well, I mean, that comes down. That's respect. That's respect. That is, like I said, I'm the breadwinner in my marriage, and I have been since day one. That does not mean that I get to talk shit to my husband, because he's a human being and he doesn't deserve it, right? Me having more money should not equal me having more power in the relationship. Again, there's a power dynamic that ebbs and flows. It may not be 50-50 all the time, but you are still a partnership. You are still two human beings who are working in synchronicity together towards a shared goal, right? So it's a partnership. It's not I'm the head of the household, so I get to tell you what to do. That's archaic. It's not. If you want someone to have dominion over, then yeah, get you a sugar baby, right? Like if that's what you want. But if you want a true, genuine partnership, then it can't be that way.
So is that's a dead generational point of view? If I'm hearing you correctly,
I make more money, so I have to say so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not the best way to foster a relationship of reciprocity.
Okay.
I feel like that's more of like a parent-child relationship than a partnership in a marriage.
So what may have worked 30, 40 years ago is not feasible today, because we're
Tell me
Totally.
something that you know of from 30, 40 years ago that translates into today. Outside of the context of a relationship, tell me something tell me something from 20 years ago
I'll
that
do you.
works
I'll do you
today.
better. Let's go 10 years ago when you could still basically make your wife have sex with you, whether you wanted to or not. Now you run the risk of going to jail by forcing your wife to have sex with you.
Well, yeah,
Like,
'cause she's a person with body autonomy.
right, but 40 years ago, she had no say so.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
yeah, so everything that parents, grandparents did, it does not it can't there's no way you'd be you'd be locked the fuck up. You
Yeah.
know?
But even, I mean, I'll just breaking it down to the most simple things. When was the last time you saw a new car with a CD player in it?
I can't, no.
Good luck trying to, play your 20-year-old CD collection. You
See,
know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about.
yeah.
So, just like everything has changed, for some reason people want to hold on to the idea that my grandparents did it this way.
Okay.
Your grandmama was hand washing laundry and dishes and on her hands and knees scrubbing the floor. Like the
I,
fuck? Like,
I'm not even. I'm not even. I
but
hear what.
again, this all comes back to what works for you,
Yeah.
right? What works for me and mine is a relationship of reciprocity,
Okay.
right? That's what works for me. Setting boundaries, treating each other like human beings, growing together, working on our mindset together, continuously dating. That works for me. But there are some men out there who prefer to be, like, yes, that she's the boss. There are some men who don't want to make those decisions for themselves. I remember working in retail years ago, and there would be men and women who would come in here, and the woman would pick out all of his clothes and say, okay, here you go try these on.
Mhm.
And he would go in the fitting room, try them on, come out. I like that. I don't like that. That's what you're getting. Right? That was his dynamic. It was that she was more like a mother than a wife,
Okay.
right? Because he didn't want to make those decisions. He hated shopping. He didn't want to
Okay.
make those decisions. So she picked out his clothes.
Okay.
There are some people that works for them. And if it works for you, do it. But do it if it works for you, not because you're trying to stick to a societal norm that is expected by people who have nothing to do with your relationship. If polyamory is your thing, do it. If you are not interested in, getting married at all and you just want to have a relationship, do that. But the point of all of this is to understand what works for you and your partner for your well-being and your longevity with one another.
How much influence do you see social media having an impact on relationships? And if you do, um, how much negative, how much positive?
Um, unless so the way social media is set up is unless you are actively seeking out the positive, you tend to get the negative, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because of how algorithms are set up and just what humans are drawn to. Um, I don't know that social media is really has a positive mental impact on anything,
Okay.
from our kids to our the way that we view ourselves, to our relationships. Social media is good for advertising your business, finding out information, keeping in touch with people, making a lot of people feel like shit because you are comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel.
Mhm.
um and mindless entertainment. So I feel like when people put too much weight on social media, that's just harmful all the way around.
Okay. Um, in regards to different types of relationships, everyone's given their space. I don't know. I don't understand why marriages are just placed into a box and they say everybody, this is how your marriage should be. When any other type of relationship is like you mentioned, polyamorous. No one dares put them in a box. No one dares put the Mormons, what they do, in a box. It's just specifically when it comes to marriage between a man and a woman. Everybody has something to say. Why do you think that is?
I think that because marriage is one of the oldest, like marriage between a man and a woman is one of the oldest Western um, situations that people are used to, right? You have these foundational ideas of what something is meant to be.
Mhm.
Um, and so that just sticks with you, right? Like it sticks with you. And so when someone comes in and shakes that up, then it makes you feel weird. Um, because you have a preset definition of what that should be.
Right.
So then when someone changes the definition, you feel wrong. And so it doesn't resonate. It creates dissonance with a lot of people. And I think that at the end of the day, you just need live and let live. If that just because it works for you, a traditional marriage works for you, does not mean that that's the best thing for these people. And then when and I say Western specifically because there are a lot of, we know, tribes in different states in Africa, tribes in different areas in the Middle East, in India, where polygamy is the norm. Having multiple wives is the norm, because culturally and as far as just societally, that's what makes sense for them, right? It works for them. Um, it's only Western cultures that have really come in and like had these very strict man-woman marriage done rules. But that's what we're raised in, right? And so I think that when we connect with our roots and when we connect with appreciate what other cultures have done and what works for them, then we can begin to respect that there's not only one right way to do things.
So as long as I've known you, you've always taken journeys, and you've always been into self-actualization and furthering and bettering yourself. But I've never asked you where that came from or what was the motivation. I just always assumed that that's just how she was. I never really looked deeper into what it was. When I first met you, you was always doing something and always, Uber's uppity smart. Like you were uppity smart.
Yeah.
So how much of that was that's the best way I could frame it. But how much of that was upbringing? How much of that, is just your life journey and you wanting to be like, okay, I need to learn this lesson now. Now I learned that, on to the next lesson, and I want to do this and I want to try that.
So but your folks don't know. So I was raised by a single mom, drug addicted, until she was on drugs until I was 16, right? And it was I didn't know she knew who my dad was, but I didn't know. I could walk past him down the street and would have no idea that that's who he was. I mean, we were homeless. There was abuse. There was, you name it. Like I could go on and on and on. Honestly, that story though is not unique. There are a lot of people who have drug addicted parents, especially from the 80s. There are a lot of people who have parents who struggle with addiction or mental health issues and stuff. But for me, I remember I was in foster care when I was 16, 16, right before my mom got out of jail, right? And it was about to be my 16th birthday, it was my 16th birthday. And I was sitting on the floor in my foster home by myself on my 16th birthday. And I thought to myself, like, there's got to be more to life than this, right? there's got to be more to life than this. This is not what I want my life to be. I don't want my life to be drug abuse, homelessness, and jail time. And so I made a very conscious decision that is not what my life was going to be. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, even before then, I would romanticize what it would be like to have a normal life, or what I envisioned as a normal life, right? Mm-hmm. It was I was very specific. I wanted a mom and a dad who were educated, who did not do drugs or drink, where I had a stable roof over my head. I didn't have to worry about lights being turned off or not having water. And I just wanted it to be normal. And it's funny because I was very, very clear on what that vision was. And now later in life, I realized that I manifested that for myself. Okay. Just not in the way that I expected. Because obviously, as a kid, I knew I wasn't going to suddenly wake up one day and have a mom who was educated and a dad who was around. But that's me and my husband, right? We have a very normal-ish life. We have, a house next to the beach. I'm educated. My husband is educated. Neither one of us drinks. Neither one of us does drugs. My children have never flipped a switch and not had a light turn on. They have never had to take a cold shower. Ava, my oldest, has been at the same school during her entire time in school. She's never had to move schools. And I can't count the number of schools that I went to. So I then finally understood the power that I had early on, and now I'm seeing it even more. And so it's just now it's a regular thing. Now it's just it's who I've become because of a mindset shift. But I had to make that conscious decision to say my life is more than what I've been given thus far.
Mind you, in one of the most expensive cities in California.
It's not though. It's not.
Shit.
It's not.
So you say.
But yeah, Mr. K2B2, that mind is something else. It's true. It's true. And so I've really, I've written several books and created several journals and things and tools to help people do exactly that, right? That's where my passion is. I have a regular, job as a writer. But as far as authoring, that's what I'm dedicating my life to, because God, if people could just understand the power that they have in their minds, that shift is real.
What was the inspiration for you to start authoring?
Because a lot of people, now manifestation has become a buzzword, right? But when I started in this, I'll say 15 years ago, maybe 20-ish, but really 15 years ago, it wasn't as buzzy or taboo as it is now, right? And because I saw it firsthand and I could do it firsthand, there was, I kid you not, and this sounds really crazy, but there was a day when I literally manifested $6,500 in one day, in a single day. And obviously there's action behind that, right? The money wasn't just oh, I want $6,500 and it's fell out of the sky. You have to take inspired action, but people are not going to take inspired action if you don't have your mindset right. Right. And so seeing the power and understanding how, and then the science behind it, the physics behind it, understanding, that side of it. Because like you said, I'm a nerd. Well, you didn't say it that nicely, but
it was nicely meant. See, boom.
Well, yeah, thank you. But understanding, because I'm very, very logical, right? I'm very spiritual, but I'm also very logical. And if the math ain't mathin', I'm not there. And so when I started to understand the coupling between the physics and the science behind why manifestation is such, and why your mindset matters so much, and then seeing that actually play out in real time, I just got very passionate about it, because we, especially like, you know, Black and brown folks, we are out here living in a reality that we don't need to live in.
Okay.
And a lot of us, you know, especially coming from our parents, I know my dad does this. A lot of us have kind of put ourselves in a box that we don't really belong in. And so we go along with this woe is me attitude a lot of times, not understanding that you're attracting that and that you have the power to change it. And so seeing people who I loved and cared about not understanding how their words affected their reality really, really got to me. And I think it got to me most. And this sucks, I might cry, but so my mom died of cancer. No, it's all right. It's all right. I'm open book.
Okay.
When my mom died of cancer, I remember telling her, like, if you don't stop, and this was before she got sick, but if you don't stop, you will never meet your grandkids. Like, you need to stop smoking, right? She wouldn't get it. And I was like, just all you had to like, just change your mindset around it. Like, you can do it. Cause she would constantly be like, I can't do it. This is my only vice. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that people will say, oh, this is my only vice. This is the only bad thing I do. So it's okay.
Right.
Well, yeah, your only vice leads to cancer. Your only vice leads to diabetes. Like put the chocolate cake down. Right. But with my mom, she would always rationalize, oh, this is my only vice is smoking. I can't quit. I've been doing it for this long. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like, it was that mindset. And so in that, she ultimately did end up passing away before she ever met her grandkids. And yeah, like, it was really hard, but it ended up being because she couldn't get her mindset right? Like, if she had decided in her mind, I can quit, I have the ability to do this, mind over matter. Like, if she had gotten that, she might still be here today. So it's a huge loss. And, and like I said, that happened about 15 years ago. Like I said, that's
Has
probably
it been that long?
really, yeah. That's probably really when I got into it a lot, but that was really the catalyst.
Wow.
Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah, that woman, she didn't know me from a can of paint. Mom, can he stay with us? Mom, can he stay with us? Can he live with us?
I know. She's like, okay.
Holy shit. Yeah.
She loved you.
Yeah.
She was
good to me. Yes. She was good to me. Yeah. Listen, I would stay in the room. I didn't want to disturb her peace. She'd be in the living room watching, and I'd be like, don't disturb her peace. I'm just stay right in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but she did. She loved you.
Yeah.
And all the we'll save the tapes that she found for another.
Hey, listen, first of all, you don't even have to get into all that. It's not even relevant to this. And once again, we're not proving they were my tapes. So I don't, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Anywho,
absolutely.
It could have been anybody's tapes.
Anybody.
Today, people running around here, breaking into homes, putting in tapes and VCRs. It happens.
Yeah, it
happens.
I'm sure.
What evs?
Maybe in Kentucky.
Who? Whatever. I want to ask you real quick. I guess, okay, the marriage expectation, till death do you part. Is that the wrong expectation to have?
Hell yes, it is.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because, like, case in point, my sister, right? She got married at a young age. And with my sister, she was married at 17. She got pregnant at 19. But all of a sudden, like, after she got married is when he started to become physically violent.
Okay.
Right. And I asked her, and it's funny because we just had this conversation recently, why did you stay for so long? And I kid you not, and this is one of the reasons why I'm like, we need to get out of that mindset. She said, I remember grandma and grandpa being married for 70 years. and grandma saying, sometimes you just have to stick it out. And I said, you stayed in this abusive relationship for 23 years because of our grandparents? And I explained to her, I'm like, do you realize, the credit, the this, the that, and, the opportunities and options for our grandmother leaving when her relationship became violent were vastly different from what my sister was able to do in, the 90s, early 2000s. And it never dawned on her. It never dawned on her that the opportunities for her, like it's just grandma made it work. They had a happy marriage for no, the fuck, they did not have a happy marriage for 70 years. Grandpa got old and weak and stopped beating that ass. And then their relationship got better. Like that. I mean, so no, did they love each other? Absolutely. But that first 30 years of absolute turmoil was terrible to live through.
Yeah.
So that whole till death do us part, like that, like people take that to heart.
That's
absolutely like toxic, terrible levels. And that doesn't, like I said, it goes back to do what works for you. If you get into a wedding, or you marry someone, you get into a relationship and you find out like after the fact that it's all bad, then you need to leave. I mean, if you're a Christian that God forgives everything, apparently you'll be fine. Step out.
I never looked at divorce as like, I don't know, because I'm a child of divorce. If they came together, they did something, they got something accomplished, and it didn't work out.
Yeah,
they're separate ways.
Yeah, but some people look at it as a personal failure, and it's not. Like I think that's not something that you can take onto yourself, because you can't be accountable for that other person.
Okay. Before I let you go, you wrote a book many years ago.
So I wrote a book several years ago called Dating Advice from a Man Whore. And it is all based on my friendship with my philandering yet wise best friend, the heavily flawed individual himself. So yes, Dating Advice from a Man Whore. I love it. It's a memoir, but it's also like a self-help book. It talks about how I was going through dating and how he gave me fantastic advice during my dating times, but it also gives examples of why he was right, like literally scientific and psychological examples of why the information that he gave me was right, and how you can apply that moving forward. So yes, Dating Advice from a Man Whore is available. I think it's available on my Stan store, but you can find it on Amazon too.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if y'all want to know a little bit more about this guy here,
it ain't even listen. No,
it's at least a couple of bodies.
It's a couple of bodies. If you wait, even back then, I wasn't really.
Even back then, this has been consistently.
No, back then I wasn't. I was dating her. Remember, because we were locked in the house, and she was like, "Get out the house. You guys work too much." And she was the first fucker I fucking dated.
No, I know, but there were more fuckers that you dated.
Okay, it was a few.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's right. It was the one. Ooh, that one.
But it's a short book. It's only about 150 pages, and I meant it to be short, sweet, and to the point. Like it's you can read it easily. It's small enough to be able to take it with you if you're like in a waiting room somewhere or something. But and I have it where you can get it digitally on my Stan store too. So
we're still gonna get that thing told on a screen. Like I've never given up on that. So
it's some stuff. So I think it's a great book. I've had a lot of good feedback, and funny enough, so one of my coworkers read it. He's a middle-aged man, and he was like, "T, I read the book 3 times." I was like, "You're not even the target demographic for it." And he was like, "I'm not kidding. I read it 3 times." So yeah, like there's really something in it for everyone. It talks about like dating and stuff, but it's also a good story and some good insights into like human psychology and why people do what they do.
Well, we need to do a part 2 to this because
Let's do it. I'm down whenever. This was
yeah, I
fun.
mean, because you're super mom and you're always fucking at the beach and shit and
I know. I have
job
to
at the
go, and
beach.
I have to go now and pick up the little one from TK.
Okay, all right, get out of here. Go,
All
and
right, friend. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. You can follow me on, I don't know, the TikToks or the Instagrams. Find me under Tiana Jovana. I think on TikTok it's guidance for grown folks. Either way, if you type in Tiana Jovana, you'll find me.
that's what's up.
So,
All right, get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your
all right.
day.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, yo, that's my sister from another mother. So Renzo, thank you for the 2 on the cash app, Brett. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I got some errands to run. I'll be back later on tonight with Red Sings the Blues. They might get this strike thing worked out. I don't see it happening not by the weekend. So so yeah, that's one of my closest people in the world. She knows where all the bodies are buried, all of them. She knows everybody I knocked down, all of them. Like, if I ever get jammed up, I'd be like, T, here's a picture and here's a video. And just in case I get jammed up, she has all the bodies. She knows where all the bodies. Yeah, that's one of my closest confidants. I think it's my only really close confidant. Yeah, she knows everybody. Everybody. So that's what's up. I'm out of here. Thank y'all for hanging out. I'll be back in a few hours. If you get a chance to visit her stand, check her out. She's super dope. You know, one of my bestest, people and favorite people in the whole wide world. So with that being said, I thank y'all for hanging out. I'll be back in a few hours. Y'all have a good one. Peace.